Hey, welcome back once again to J.P.'s World of Wrestling. I am your man, J.P., and we've been taking a closer look at my Hasbro collection. Last time we covered the Big Boss Man, this guy. But today, we're talking about this guy, Jake the Snake Roberts. I was always a big fan of Jake the Snake Roberts, and this figure is a really good figure. I always, like I've said before, I always like when these toy companies made wrestling figures that were reflective of the person's wrestling style. And I think this one did a pretty good job of doing that. Uh, it's got kind of a wide stance. It's got just like kind of straight up. And like his action move was kind of you pull back and then you release it. I said I never used the action moves. I didn't like them. I didn't think that they were necessary. But the more I think about it, though, I've often questioned why they did it, but if you think about it, though, when the Hasbro figures came out, if you look at the other boys' toys that were out at the time, they had things like G.I. Joes and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And all of those things had like rockets that launch and things that like power action, everything. Every toy back then had some kind of a power action thing. So these wrestlers were no exception. But nevertheless, I didn't use them. I like to just do things by hand with my using my imagination. And but this is a good figure. I like this figure. Again, there's a snake accessory that came with it that I don't have. The Damien snake thing that wrapped around his neck, and it kind of coiled a little bit. But anyway, Jake the Snake Roberts. I always like Jake. In my opinion, Jake the Snake Roberts probably gave the best promos of anybody I'd ever seen in wrestling. Most guys, they would yell at the top of their lungs and they were going to say what they were going to do their opponent next Saturday night at whatever arena they were going to be in. But Jake didn't do that. Jake was, he was kind of down here. And he's like, something, I'm going to, you're not going to know what hit you, but I'm going to hit you just like a snake. And, he would just say like these things that would just make the hair stand up on your arm. And I still remember the promo that he did at WrestleMania 6. His opponent was the $1 Million Man. And the pre-match interview, if you haven't seen it, I would go back and watch it because it's just so good. Everything he did was so good. He never stumbled on his words. He never stuttered. He always kind of looked at that camera, kind of with one eyebrow up, and just kind of talked on this level. He kind of talked on this level. And it was kind of psychologically, it kind of messed with your head a little bit. I know that I wouldn't have wanted to wrestle Jake back then because he was creepy. He was kind of like a snake in that way. He was really creepy, but he did really good interviews. His wrestling style, I always liked his wrestling style because it was kind of unique. He did kind of these quick jabs, then followed up with an uppercut. He would do like pick you up and like do like stomach breakers. Then of course his finishing move, a move that he kind of invented, the DDT. And I heard a shoot interview one time with Jake that said the way he invented it was kind of an accident. He was wrestling the grappler Len Denton one time, and he had him in a front face lock, and then he just kind of fell backwards, and Len Denton's head kind of hit the mat, and ta-da! It was born, the DDT. But Jake the Snake Roberts, man, love Jake Roberts. And he has a podcast. It's called The Snake Pit. You guys should check it out. It's actually really cool. He tells wrestling stories and just, it's really cool. And he's in a really good place now. He was kind of iffy for a while, health-wise and mentally. He was in a bad place. But thanks with the help of his buddy Diamond Dallas Page, he pulled the nose up and he's turned his life around, and He's sober, drug-free, and he's doing good. He's back together with his wife, Cheryl, and I'm really happy for him. And I really love Jake the Snake Roberts, and I really love this figure, Jake the Snake Roberts. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Once again, if you're new here, if you want to go ahead and like this video, you could subscribe to the channel. You could share it with your friends. You could whatever if you like my content. And I'll see you next time.